What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 3 of Punches and Punchins, the podcast where it's just solo dolo. Me, your host, the one and only PTP Tega, LDSK Tega, Cody Ortega, whatever you want to call me, the mantra you want to add. Doesn't matter. That's me. What I guess you call it exciting week. I guess every week's an exciting week, right? It seems that there's been a lot of big news breaking. The first of which it's on my mind is the fact that here in the United States, on Wednesday, they had an official briefing with Congress about UFOs. They had a gentleman come in and he pretty much told Congress that uh, he is aware himself of these square items floating in clear orbs. He described them as a black square floating in a like see-through slash like white orb. And like all 4 points of the square were in the orb. I believe he said also that the Air Force had almost hit one. They had seen these ever since they've upgraded their radar systems. I seen him on the Joe Rogan podcast. So I think he kind of has been saying things about this and kind of been whistleblowing. He did make a good statement that he said that he doesn't believe or that he did know of people who may have been injured, possibly by the government or by, these beings or UFOs. He did state that he couldn't make a public statement on it, but he'd feel more comfortable making a private statement. Also said that he was facing some sort of whistleblower act and that he did not want to speak too much on like things like that because it could do something to him as far as in that whistleblower case, I believe is what it was. Some of the people in Congress asked him if he was aware of these things that they've been recovered. He said he had interviewed some people and he had talked to some people who said yes, these items have been recovered. He said that they are still working on the project, I guess, as far as keeping UFOs a secret and discovering more about them. And he also made it a point to say that they had recovered bodies, or somebody had that has insider knowledge is the word I'm looking for. Somebody who had insider knowledge said they had recovered bodies in these UFOs, and that these are not of human descent. So it's pretty crazy. Like I said, they're coming out, they're telling people, pretty much blankly, like they're giving this man the stage to, I guess, either make himself look crazy or just giving himself the stage to just tell people like, yeah, here's UFOs, here's what's happening. What's crazy to me is people are reacting like I guess right on par for what you would think, but for me it's you would think we would do like a COVID type thing. It's like, all right, let's shut everything down, let's figure out this alien thing, what's going on. Instead, you talk to normal people, or normies as I call them, and they've kind of all just say, yeah, okay, cool, whatever, man. And I wonder if that's just like, the idea that people who believe in aliens might be crackpots, crazy already. Or maybe people just don't care because their, rent's still due, they got bills to pay, and none of this really affects having to pay your bills. It is an interesting turn of events as the world keeps turning. We have all these wars going on. They've said they've spotted these things over I believe it was the ocean. The dude said maybe it was like a red one that was very large. I heard him describe one as the size of a football field. And that's football as in like American football, not soccer as you Brits call it. But just the fact that that thing's so large makes it seem like this is like a false story. However, once again, he's in Congress, sworn in under oath. So he's taking a pretty big risk to be lying. Nobody really is taking this too serious, though. I personally think this is huge news. Some people are, calling Project Blue Book the idea that, like, they're gonna, or Project Blue Beam, I think is what it's called, where they're going to, the government's gonna be like, all right, yeah, look, here's aliens. Look, see, now everybody come under one rule because now we have to face the alien threat. And it's a way to get, a universal leadership program going. But let's just be honest, us as humans will never allow that to happen. We barely let leadership now in countries tell people what to do. What makes people think that a universal leadership is going to work even under that? I've seen also that they compared it to some movie where they were using projections for heroes, and that's what they're going to do is they're going to fake a alien invasion, create like a fake Christ type person who's going to be the superhero or the savior. And once again, it's going to be in a way to rule people. Also, just sounds insane. I don't think people throw away their freedom that easy. I don't think that anybody who's logical who looks at aliens or believes in aliens is going to look at this and say, oh, yeah, they're going to come invade us now. When if they've been here for a while and they've been visiting our planet and they haven't vaporized us yet, then yeah, why would they start now? I did remember seeing a video of a couple, maybe they were senators or some sort of U.S. leaders. It was one or two of them that came out and said they had seen some videos of UFOs or UAPs or whatever you want to call them, and that they couldn't explain, and that they were saying that they were making maneuvers that were, beyond our abilities and capabilities. Which I don't know what's a scarier thought. To me, a scarier thought is that maybe another nation has managed to surpass us in flight. That's a scarier thought than like something out of this world has passed us in flight. So we'll see how that works out. I don't think that anything big is going to come of this. I think that they just gave this guy his time in court. They'll push it back under the rug, and we'll see nothing of this until either these alien invaders actually make a point to come to Earth and like show themselves on a wide scale, or that's pretty much it. And even then, people were still going to claim false flags and stuff like that. So don't get too excited. I was pretty excited, and then seeing how nobody had heard of this yesterday makes me really wonder if anything really changes from that. But at least we know now that at least the government's looking into these things and these invaders and making sure, and I put making sure in quotations, that these things don't get out of hand. Because let's be honest, they're probably not. They're probably pushing it under the rug and just hiding a lot of the stuff. But what do I know? I'm just a normal person. To stay on the subject of politics, kind of, those of you who are familiar with American politics or from America, you know that we have this issue that we have politicians who are way too old. We vote these people in, and they just, I don't know how to explain it. They're just too old to do the job. They're out of touch. They have no clue what the price of a loaf of bread is. They have no clue what a gallon of milk costs. They have no clue what gas is per gallon. Our perfect example is our president himself, who's just an old gentleman. But to be fair, for some reason, the American political system, as far as it comes to presidents, doesn't do it the way which you would think, which is the best two humans available should kind of face off in some sort of political debate to find out who the best human is to run the country. But that's not how these things work. They're essentially popularity contests and who can be bought out by the bigger businesses. But that's a different subject. Back to the subject at hand is that these older gentlemen get these politician places and they either hang on as long as they can, or you get some other cases where they, become president and they have to leave after a certain amount of time. This time, we're talking about the man who's from Kentucky himself, the Turtle Man himself. No, not the famous one, the politician, Mitch McConnell. Apparently, he suffered from some sort of light stroke or stroke type thing that he was giving a speech. He randomly freezes up, and for some reason doesn't say anything, which was again is part of the seizure, I guess. That's what I was reading, is that it looked to be some sort of seizure that older people have that can lead to, or later on be actual large full scale heart attacks. But he just stood there and zoned out. He had what'd be like his handlers or people around him ask him if he needed to go back to his office. He was kind of unaware. This is also after coming back from a 6-week medical leave for a fall he had taken, I guess, in his hotel room in New York somewhere. Maybe it was in the White House. I'm not really sure. But he took a fall. I guess he'd hit his head and gave himself a concussion. So they allowed him that 6 week off. Now he's came back and once again has just proved that he's too old to do the job. I don't know, as a member of Kentucky, I can't tell you how he keeps getting voted in. I call it like the Donald Trump syndrome. Not that there was anything wrong with Donald Trump or whatever. You like who you like. Once again, this goes to the subject of like presidents. They're kind of just scapegoats. But what I call the Donald Trump syndrome is when Donald Trump was being elected and then when he was trying to be reelected, there's this weird thing that was happening, at least around here, where people would make fun of Donald Trump a lot, and not a lot of people stuck up for him. Not a lot of people were pro-Trump, at least not vocally. You had the select few, had the flags and stuff, but as far as in person, not a lot of people were vocal about it. It seemed like you would say something about, oh, Donald Trump's stupid, whatever. I don't know, I'm trying to think of something lame that's not too offensive, but they would say something, and those same people would laugh about it, and then they would turn around and vote for Trump, kind of like closet Trump voters. And I think that's how Mitch McConnell goes, or maybe it's just the older people themselves voting for him. I'm not really sure, and this also could come back to maybe it's just industries like the different, farming, just people buying votes essentially. But I'm not really sure. But it seemed like anybody I've talked to is not really a Mitch McConnell fan. They haven't told me like anything positive he's done. I know he's took away like teachers' pensions and stuff like that, and he just cost a lot of money. Hasn't made a lot of good decisions, and he seems to keep getting voted in. So all I think of is like those closet voters who just don't want to admit that they're fans of him. And I'm still open for anybody to tell me like one good thing that one positive about him, because it seems like he's just harming Kentucky more and more. I believe we are the poorest state. We're definitely the top 5 in the poorest states. So I believe we are the poorest state in the United States, which is interesting. And that rightfully, in my opinion, reflects your leaders you choose, and thus reflects Mitch McConnell himself. Once again, we need to stop voting these old people in. If you can't, there's a couple things. There's like a test they need to give, and it's like if they can't give you an average amount of like price per gallon of gas, price per gallon of milk, and a loaf of bread, and then the final test is they must sign up for a Netflix account by themselves without any assistance. And that's how you do the final test for presidency once you do your popularity contest or whatever the hell it is you're going to do. Or any politician branch for that matter. If you can't do those things, then you probably shouldn't be in politics, in my opinion. But, people are going to do what people do, and unfortunately that's the downside of America. And I'm sure other countries are the same, where we stray too far away from what I guess is what's supposed to be, and we lose the point of things. There is no ad read for this section here. If you'd like to sponsor the podcast, please contact me on any of my avenues, whether it be on Discord, which is LDSK_Tega, PTP Tega, if you will, Facebook, once again, PTP Tega, or Twitter, which is PTP Tega, YouTube, LDSK Tega. Just reach out. We'll get an ad placed for you. Pretty affordable, less than $20 for an ad space. It's not too bad, man. And it'll give you multiple weeks. So if you want an ad space, there's your chance. Now, on to the next subject that I want to talk about is my favorite subject itself, the UFC. Before we get into Saturday's events, that's tomorrow's events. If you're listening to this on Friday, I want to talk about Israel Adesanya versus Sean Strickland. They've not announced the fight yet. I thought this was a for sure thing. This is not a for sure thing at all. Apparently, it has to be done by the 12th, I believe. They haven't announced anything. Sean Strickland has came out and said that he was told that this is a thing the UFC is not interested in. Israel's agreed to it verbally. Sean's agreed to it. I've seen a thing that they said that the other African gentleman, whose name I can't remember, Drew Plessis, will not be ready medically, and Sean wants too much money for the fight. So, I don't know. I guess that probably won't happen. We probably will not have a good main event, but it has not been announced officially, so I don't think that's going to happen, which is a bummer for everybody. Not a lot of people thought this was a good matchup anyway to start with, but it could just be that type of matchup that you need to shake that division completely up. So, I don't know what they're going to do about that. Maybe they wait for Drew Plessis to heal so they can do a UFC Africa. I don't really know the state of that. I don't know if there's, the sales or anything like that. I'm completely ignorant to that whole idea. But that is a good plan. However, how long does it take him to heal and then retrain and be ready? Definitely more than 6 weeks. Sean Strickland's ready to fight. Let him in there. If he loses by a lot, then hell, that's an easy fight for Izzy. But I don't see that happening. I guess Sean probably wants a good grip of money, and I don't really know. That's the excuse they're hiding behind. So we will keep hoping that they announce that fight but it is not looking good, to be honest with you. This week, though, Saturday, the UFC has a humongous card. And to be honest with you, this is probably one of the biggest cards of the year, in my opinion. And it's going to be a banger card. Just working your way up from the undercard itself. Well, there it goes, the undercard itself. You have some amazing fights. You have Michael Chiesa versus Kevin Holland. You have Tony Ferguson versus my man Bobby Green. Tony Ferguson watching this, watching the, what is it, Embedded? There you go. There's what I'm looking for. The Embedded seems like he's super focused. He really wants this. Now, once again, anybody who says, "Oh, I'm gonna win a fight because I really want it," or "I just black out," or whatever excuse they give you, doesn't really mean that they're going to win. And I understand that. But he says, and I quote, "I've missed me. I'm back. I hope you guys missed me too." Or actually, don't quote that because I don't know that's the exact quote. That's essentially what he's saying, is that he is back. He is ready to win. And he has a pretty tough fight ahead of him in Bobby Green. Now, if we do remember, I do believe Bobby Green fought Islam, and Bobby Green lost because Islam is a terrific wrestler. I don't think Bobby Green's a terrible wrestler, but I don't know if he's a good wrestler or a great wrestler or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or whatever you want to call it. Bobby Green is a superb boxer, a great striker, but I think Tony Ferg is going to wrestle him. I hope not, though. I hope Tony Ferg comes out there and tries to box with Bobby Green, and I kind of hope Bobby Green comes away with the win. But I don't know. It could go either way. We go into the next fight after that. You got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Michael Pereira, or Mikel Pereira. I don't really know how you say his name, but they're fighting. Another great fight right there. Stephen Thompson, 17-6, and Michael Pereira, 28-11. Great fight. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's one of those OGs. He's been doing it a while. I do think it's time for him to retire, however. It's going to be a banger of a fight. That is for sure. Then you move up to the light heavyweight. You got Jan Blachowicz, the Polish power himself, versus the first light heavyweight fight in the UFC for Alex Pereira. Oh man, what a banger of a fight. These two behemoths are going to slug it out to see who is going to win. I do think somebody goes to sleep in this fight. I do think somebody lands one of those power punches. It's one of those ones that I don't care which way it goes, but I want to see it. I want to see either Jan, how you say his name, just knock out Alex Pereira, but at the same time, I want to see Alex Pereira rise to the top of that division again. And I say again because he had just won a title just a few months ago. He had won a title. So, of course, I want to see that again. He's only 7-2 in the UFC, which is an amazing record for him to have already, had the championship, gone up a weight class. Watching from his Embedded, he didn't really have to cut a lot of weight. He could actually eat what he wanted because he's floating right around the weight he's supposed to be at. So we'll see how much changes. Once again, this is being recorded at 10:14 on the 27th. That is on a Thursday. So a lot can change. We could see if he misses weight. However, I don't think he's going to miss weight. I think he'll be right on. And then we go to the main event. This thing for the BMF title that Jorge Masvidal owns, that he's going to hand to the winner of this match. You have Dustin the Diamond Poirier against what I consider to be one of the most underrated fighters of our generation, my time, whatever, Justin Gaethje. Once again, Dustin Poirier is 29-7, and Justin Gaethje is 24-4. Justin Gaethje has this incredible ability to just keep coming forward and taking beatings and coming out with a win. And Dustin Poirier is, without a doubt, the best boxer in the UFC. So I think we're going to see a lot of slugging out to this. This is actually the second time they fought. So the first time was an amazing time. This time is going to be an even more amazing time. We're going to see these guys definitely slug it out. And once again, you're either going to see this go all 5 rounds, or somebody's going to go to sleep. This doesn't end. In my opinion, in a chokeout or anything. This is going to end in somebody getting knocked out or going all 5 rounds. And it's not going to be a boring 5 rounds. It's going to be a bloody 5 rounds of these gentlemen quite literally beating the snot out of each other. And this is the same thing. Like, I wanted to go either way. I used to not like Dustin Poirier, but I guess through time watching him win, I've kind of enjoyed him. Under the undercard, the preliminary card, not a lot of people to really give a shout out to, except for my man, the Black Beast, Derek Lewis, who's 26-11 against Marcos Rogerio de Lima, who is 21-9. I want to see Derek Lewis knock somebody out for one more time. I know that his retirement's coming soon. He'd already announced that, he was already kind of to the end of his fighting career. Maybe it was 5 or 6 fights ago. I was hoping he'd get a heavyweight championship. It does not look like that's going to happen. Once again, his talent's kind of just swing for the fences and knock you out. And also that, these wrestlers have a hard time holding him down. But he's had a string of bad luck. He's been caught a few times. So I know that his retirement's coming, or he'll be probably cut from the UFC. But hopefully we can see at least one more knockout before all of that happens. I want to see him drop somebody else. It's just something special watching a Derek Lewis fight. There's just something real special about it. I don't know. They just hit different. They just hit different. Watching him talk about his post-fight conference just hits different. And that's the best way I can explain it. So we're going to see how that turns out. But big Saturday. Hope to see you guys there. Hope to maybe see some people post who they think's going to fight. So my rundown of the main card will probably be, I'm going to say the winners from bottom to top. I'm going to say probably Michael Chiesa, Bobby Green, Michael Pereira. Ooh, this is a hard one. Probably Jan Blachowicz. Even though I like Alex Pereira, I like the Polish Power Man himself. And Dustin the Diamond Poirier. I see these people winning the fights. Those are my picks. Who do you guys got? Now, on to some Call of Duty news. I just seen that Season 5 is being released. There has been a few leaks on Season 5 and what's going to be in it. And I seen that Nicki Minaj, the rapper, Snoop Dogg, and 21 Savage are all receiving skins in Season 5. I don't think this was an official announcement. However, it says that it's going to be a thing. So good luck, guys. Depending on what that 21 Savage skin looks like, I might grab that. But anybody who's a fan of Call of Duty, why is Optic Scumper Jumper, whatever you want to call him, why does he not have a skin? What sense does that make, that you're going to give these rappers who, I guess I'd say they probably don't care too much about your game. Maybe Snoop Dogg does a little bit, but most of these rappers don't care about your game. Why are you going to give them a skin other than people are going to buy them and you're going to make money? But I guess they tried the whole YouTuber and whatever skins, and you see how that worked out with Nick Merckx, Tim the Tatman. But I guess what are y'all going to do with that Nicki Minaj skin? 21 Savage skin hasn't been shown yet, but they have shown the Nicki Minaj skin and the whatever his name is skin. Just that Snoop Dogg skin. But they haven't shown the 21 Savage skin. I haven't seen it leaked yet. Which one are you guys buying? I don't really see anything else that's been leaked about this yet. So we will see what kind of maps they give us. Please, just give us high rise. Please. Just give us high rise. You can copy and paste the map on over. We'll enjoy it just as much. Just port it on over. Give us high rise. Me and everybody from the Call of Duty community will thank you. Don't even change anything about it. Make it the exact same. Just port it on over. Give it to us. I don't want terminal anymore. I don't want Rust anymore. I don't want anything but high rise. Give me high rise, please. So that's it for this week's podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for hanging out with me for episode 3 of Punches and Punch-Ins. Until next time, y'all stay safe, stay dangerous, and I guess stay strapped or get clapped. Later, guys.